Okie dokie. I really want to apologize. Hello, 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 world. I really want to apologize for just leaving the previous part one so rapidly. It happened due to an internet issue. And I'm very sorry for that. I'm really happy to be back with you. I was planning to go very shortly, but then this thing occurred when we got disconnected. So I'm very, very happy and thankful to those of you who are joining me again for this stream so that we can continue the conversation that we've been having. We started having a conversation about the curriculum, the books that people had to read, that you had to read, that I had to read when we went to school. And Oleg shared a very interesting utterance with us. Oleg, you said that basically you have heard that post-Soviet curriculum is very, very strict. I just wonder what you mean when you say strict. I would be very interested in learning your opinion on the word strict. What do you mean when saying that? The thing that I thought about it being strict is I thought about it being very rigid and very fixed and very formal. There were very few children's books, and the books that we had to read, for their most part, were quite, adult, right? Let's call that adult literature. They were not very engaging. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. And to a kid, all of those books were packed with philosophy and things like that. And it was very, very difficult for us to basically just to, get to grips with what was happening within those books. Even though there were fiction books, there were not very many self-help books. I should probably say none, right? There were no self-help specimens in our education system, but I wish that there could have been more. I want you to reflect on your school experiences and think what you personally have made of your own school experiences. Did you enjoy your experience at school? Oh, okay. All right. So are we talking about comparison here? Are we talking about, um, okay, right. It's not that much about comparison, is it? It's more about like the challenge that the education system presents us with, um, both in the Soviet Union and also in Russia and Ukraine. Yeah. Well, I can only speak from my experience. And even though that's not a question, I still feel it might be interesting to share our views on that. When I went to school, the literature was very demanding, maths was very demanding. We had quite a few very narrow subjects, and we just had to excel at all of them if we wanted to get a degree that would propel us to a university experience. So by saying that, I'm realizing how much in common Ukraine and Afghanistan have, because in Afghanistan, according to Khyber, right, people do have to work very hard at school. People do have to study very hard. I think it was influenced by ranking and competition in education, and many of the learners were quite stressed out. And in my school, we had a specific type of practice that I shared in my Facebook stream, as you may remember, but I'm going to reiterate it here. When teachers would divide the class into stronger learners and weaker learners, and some of those teachers would place the stronger learners in a special part in that classroom and weaker learners in an opposite part of that classroom. And they would say, okay, so you're the weaker learners and you're the grade A learners. So there was a specific teacher who did that. And that teacher asked the learners to do different tasks according to their level of perceived intelligence and everything like that. And based on the conversations that I had with my former classmates, I realized that that exact experience turned out to be quite damaging to some of my peers. And some of them really suffered because of that practice, because what it did is it reinforced their opinion of their own self-worth as being extremely low. And those people have suffered so much because of that low self-worth. And generally, I think the way in which our school system treats an individual self-worth here in Ukraine is quite weak, and more things could be done in this direction. That's why I'm doing this live stream, because I really want to know what your experience of schooling would have to be like. Okay, so it looks like this would have to be the right time for me to say goodbye for now. And thank you for participating in this live stream. Let's see if my cat allows me to finish it. A bit of important information. Thank you so much. Thanks, Oleg. Thanks, Khyber. Thank you, folks. Thanks, Guadalupe. Thank you, everyone who is re-watching this live stream. Leave your comments down below. I do agree fully with you, Oleg. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Just, clicking on that external motivation button instead of nourishing the internal motivation is always quite painful. And it does take its toll on the adult lives that will leave long after we finish school. So I'm going to be going very, very shortly. And I was just on the point of thanking you for joining me for this live stream. Please leave your further comments in the comment section down below under this stream. Rewatch part 1 if you haven't seen part 1, because this live stream comes in 2 parts. Part 1 is longer. It's about half an hour long. And I hope to do this again with these live streams. I'm just trying to see which areas are more or less important to people, which areas you would love to tap into in greater detail, so that we can discuss the things that are enriching and transforming for all of us, right? Even though they might sound niche at times, I think a more conscious direction is definitely where we're heading, right? Okay, thanks again. And that's going to have to be it. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.